зброю, не розповсюджувати, не допускати погрози нею, не допускати тренування, печити ядерне роззброєння. Але вона не повинна бути єдиною стратегією для того, щоб убезпечити світ від війни, від останньої війни. Україна віддала третій за потужністю ядерний арсенал.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Benny. We go a lot of places on this show, and we talk to a lot of people, including a lot of Democrats. We go into Democrat cities, Democrat organizations, and speak with people there in order to sort of get the read of the room. And the one thing that we always hear is, why the hell is my party giving so much money to Ukraine? This is such a major vulnerability for Democrats and for Joe Biden. Some of the hardest blue voters are like, we don't quite understand why the money ain't here in our neighborhoods. This is something that resonates across the spectrum. And it is, again, something that is not going to play well in the election. What's going to play well in the election is we want the war to end. We want there to be peace. We want everyone to shut up and stop shooting each other and for us to stop giving trillions of dollars to this country. And that, I think, is starting to actually resonate. Zelensky was stateside the last couple of days, and he is going to go back to Ukraine empty-handed, effectively. The world's running out of patience with Zelensky. Blank check demands. Poland stops giving arms, and U.S. gives a fraction of what the Ukraine leader asked for as he visits Canada today to try and win support. Zelensky made a speech at the United Nations and was generally humiliating himself in the speech, making all these claims about climate change. I tweeted this incredible moment in Zelensky's speech where he just started begging other nations for tips. Hard to believe this is real. We looked it up. This is actually Zelensky. Funny how they chose an actor for this moment in time. And when I say chose, Ukraine is a client state of our American State Department. We ran a coup in Ukraine, and we were able to install our own government. And that's why Joe Biden felt like he could go in and just muscle people around and take all their money. Truly, we are run by a cartel. An embarrassing cartel. Zelensky's a part of it. This is why I don't like Zelensky. Obviously, I think he's like a greasy, like rat-like, despicable individual. I think there are many things to dislike about him and the people who are around him. Obviously, he's surrounded by garbage people. He just fired his entire Defense Department. He's fired all of his advisors. And the corruption is utterly endemic and fatal in Ukraine. But he should probably fire his social media editor, because in a clip that was edited of his UN speech, it was edited to make it look like he had a bigger audience. And they included footage of Zelensky himself in the audience while he's giving a speech. This is absolutely amazing. So the 14-second mark here, you can see Zelensky. This is from Ukrainian television. This is directly from Ukrainian television. You can see Zelensky giving the speech, and then at the 14-second mark, you can see Zelensky himself there in the audience. Oh, yeah, baby. This is what the speech looked like. It was like a half full. I mean, the UN is such an absolute scam anyway. Like a half full little auditorium there, and their little blue chairs. The UN should be abolished. There's absolutely no reason for the United Nations to exist at all. It is antithetical to the American Constitution, antithetical to our country and our values. Very often, what is being projected from the dais at the United Nations is odious to our Constitution and our morals here in America, if we have any left. So why do we support it? Why do we fund it? Speaking of, why are we funding this? What you're seeing here is the red region is what Russia has won in Ukraine, and the blue region is the much vaunted Ukrainian counteroffensive gains in Ukraine. So this is what $500 billion bought the American taxpayer. These teeny little regions of rubble. Here's what $500 billion purchased by the American taxpayer. These little blue dots reclaim territory in Ukraine. The red is what Russia has taken. How many more trillions to take the rest back? Yeah. Great question. It's a question that people are beginning to ask all across the country, including on Capitol Hill, where Zelensky was begged to give one of those little speeches to the United States Congress like he did last year with Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris, unfurling a Ukrainian flag. Despicable Ukrainian flag flying at the well of our House of Representatives. But Democrats hate America, so they gotta love something. They love Ukraine. What they really love is the corruption in Ukraine and lining their own pockets with the dollars being spent there. And now Republicans are saying, no more. We're turning off the tap of money flow to Ukraine. Check this out.
For landmines, Zelensky came to the Capitol to appeal to members for another round of aid.
I received about support about the situation on the battlefield, about our plans. I can't share with media all the details, but I think we had very strong dialogue in the Senate.
But conservatives oppose giving Ukraine more money. In fact, that's one of the reasons why the House failed to start debate today on the annual defense spending bill.
I've been very clear about take the Ukraine money out of the defense bill and put it in a separate funding bill so that members like me can vote no and other members can vote yes if they want to. It's the easiest thing to do. They still wouldn't do it.
The reception Zelensky got at the Capitol was frostier than the one he received in December. Zelensky spoke to a joint meeting of Congress back then. He met with senators in the old Senate chamber this morning, and on the House side, a room where lawmakers talk to constituents over coffee and donuts. The room says a lot.
Zelensky asked for a joint session. We just didn't have time. He's already given a joint session. This is a little busy week. We're dealing with the funding issue. I don't know how we could slip that in such a short time.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries escorted Zelensky into the House meeting, not McCarthy. The speaker was upstairs opening the floor for the day. Money for Ukraine is a flashpoint in talks to avoid a government shutdown.
Not one more penny, Republicans are saying. And good. And they're not the only ones. The Polish are now saying that they will not be akin to starting World War III. A Polish president snaps at Zelensky for his plot to drag the world into World War III. They're saying that a drowning person is grasping at straws, and indeed a drowning person is grasping at anything he can. It's necessary to act in such a way to protect oneself from being harmed by a drowning person, calling Ukraine the drowning man of Europe.
Mamy do czynienia tak z tonącym. My jesteśmy tym, który ratuje. Jak jest tonący, każdy, kto kiedykolwiek brał udział w ratowaniu tonącego, czy każdy, kto kiedykolwiek uczył się o tym, co dzieje się w tej sytuacji, wie o tym, że człowiek tonący jest niesłychanie niebezpieczny, ponieważ może pociągnąć w głębiny. Ma siłę niewyobrażalną na skutek obawy osobistej, wpływu adrenaliny i może po prostu utopić ratującego.
He can pull down the rescuer. The drowning man has unimaginable strength because he is paralyzed by fear, and that's what he's saying of Zelensky. Why else would this man edit, of course, at his own order, at Zelensky's own order, edit his own UN speech to include himself, to include a bigger audience? Don't you have other things to worry about? Haven't you, hasn't there been like hundreds of thousands of people killed in Ukraine for no reason? For no reason. Sorry. I'm anti-war. This used to be something that was very fashionable on the left. I consider myself of the right. But I am deeply anti-war. I'm anti this war. This war is going on for the enrichment of the globalists, for the enrichment of Democrats, for the enrichment of the connected. As you just saw in Bob Menendez's indictment, this is how it works. This money is unaccountable. It flows into a black hole like Ukraine, and then people get rich. And those people are evil. They are defrauding the American taxpayer and our treasury. If you need further evidence of that, if a government shutdown occurs, which it may next week, the Pentagon will exempt Ukraine operations from the shutdown. So the Pentagon will stop paying American soldiers, stop funding America's defense, but will continue funding Ukrainian defenses. In case you're wondering which nation our leaders care about, it's not America. This is why I'm very nervous about World War III starting. Apparently, Ukrainian Storm Shadow missile struck the Russian Black Sea Fleet headquarters in Crimea, with U.S. reconnaissance plane helping target the attack. We are spiraling toward World War III. Ukraine is pulling us, dragging us, drowning us into World War III. And I don't want war. And I don't want death. I want the guy who was against those two things and didn't start a single new war as the American president. As soon as he's out of office, Ukraine war starts. Got it? This is the answer.
What do you... Can I just follow up on that? You said you don't think in terms of winning and losing. Mr. President, can I just follow up on that because that's a really important statement that you just made there. Can you say if you want Ukraine or Russia to win this war?
I want everybody to stop dying. They're dying. Russians and Ukrainians. I want them to stop dying. And I'll have that done. I'll have that done in 24 hours. I'll have it done. You need the power of the presidency to do it.
But you won't say that you want Ukraine to win. You
know what I'll say? I'll say this. I want Europe to put up more money because they're in for 20 billion. We're in for 170, and they should be. And they should equalize. They have plenty of money. They should equalize. I got with NATO.
But
when I sat down, I got them to put up hundreds of billions of dollars that they weren't paying under Obama and Bush and all of these other presidents. That's why they're able to help them fight the war because of the money I got. But I want Europe.
What's happening in Ukraine,
excuse me,
Mr.
I want Europe to put up more money because they're laughing at us. They think we're a bunch of jerks. We're spending $170 billion for faraway land, and they're right next door to that land, and they're in for 20. I don't think so.